But what was the start of enduro like? Like, take us back.
Oh man, it was crazy. It was like all these French, all these European people, and they were just crazy. It seemed like they'd been enduroing forever, and we just were like, whoa, what's this new discipline? And they wore these crazy outfits, and it was backpacks and dorky helmets and sunglasses and like ragtag and we loved it. It was so sort of like out there, and you'd show up like you said, you go, I did a few mega avalanches and Mountain of Hells, and that's where I met Jerome Clemens and Pauline, his wife now, and they pretty much introduced me to all these French people who to this day I'm good friends with, and they introduced us to this whole enduro racing scene. And I would tag along with those guys, and Jerome would mechanic on my bike, and we, the more we did, the more we wanted to do, and most of the time Sven was he was shooting, and then I would go off to do these enduro races, and they were just crazy, and they'd have these amazing feed stations in between, and stages that were like 20 minutes long, and you would go for a one event, you would be so knackered at the end of the week from practice days. You'd have like 3 full practice days and then 2 or 3 full race days, and they would feed you dinners, and it was just so cool and so social, and the riding was insane. It was like riding downhill tracks but on little bikes, and so you got that same adrenaline, and you got that whole like camaraderie, the enduro spirit of enduro. It really was a thing, and it was um it was really, it just made me, I just fell in love with riding my bike all over again. And you saw these amazing places. I mean, you start at the top of a glacier, and mega avalanche, they still separated the men from the women, but at like Mountain of Hell, it was mass start, men, women, you'd all just go. And it was carnage. I mean, you had so many like total weapons, and the guys would obviously, they would just block you, and you couldn't get by, and there were piles of people that you had to climb over, and it was like wild. Like you'd get to the bottom like an hour later, and like your brain couldn't comprehend what you've just seen, or people just flying off cliffs or stuck in the ski netting, or it was just like it was just a whole new experience for us, and we loved it. And the community, they were real excited to have new people coming in and giving their events a go. So it was really a fun time.
And would that be, that would sort of be, it sounds more grassroots, but it was already, for you, it was new, but it was already going in Europe. But it was before Chris Ball went over and formalized it, right?
Yes, so
And
that
sort of,
was
for lack of a better
yeah.
term, commercialized it. But it was kind of already
Yes.
happening. And like you say, it was all the camaraderie, everyone together. It was less, I mean, they were all competitive, clearly, the races, but because there weren't salaries on the line and things like that, or bigger ones, it seems like everyone was getting along more and there was a more fun atmosphere, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was you'd have names, I'd be racing like Anne Caroline Chasson, and Tracy Mosley was also always, mostly at those events, and like, big names, Nico Villot, because those were the kind of guys that were already also thinking of retiring or retired at that time. So they were also dabbling with this new, and Fabian, and all these sort of real fast races. They were all at these events. So it was really cool, and I turned out to be okay at it, because I ended up, like on
No,
a few
more than
podiums with
okay. I
with
saw I
with
saw the
Anne Caro,
results.
so that
Yeah.
was cool. Like those were um I guess I took, the longer the event was, the better I ended up doing. I guess I need to warm up my old bones. But yeah, that was before the whole EWS. So I did that for a few years, or like mega avalanches, um, and all those. sort of, the French Enduro series and the Italian Super Enduro series, and that's where I met like Fred Glow and Enrico Guala, all those, in my eyes, they're legends of the sport. And then I was ready to sort of be done again. That was fun for a few years and seen new places, and then EWS started, and I was like, oh, well, that sounds cool. Like maybe I can keep going. And so I'd been on Santa Cruz for a few years, and that was at the same time when Santa Cruz that's when they launched Juliana, their women's bike. And they were like, okay, we want you to race EWS and represent us on this new, the Juliana bike. And I was like, okay, well, this is cool. So again, I was like done, and then this popped up, and I was like, okay, well, I can do that for a few more years. And yeah, that's we started in Punta Ala in Italy at the first EWS, and I did that for a few years, and that was amazing. I mean, that was when everything was like enduro. It was, as much as I loved enduro, I also cringed at how, I mean, they would name energy bars, everything got enduro, enduro shorts, enduro lycra, enduro bars. So it like also went
Enduro
like a
bikes.
enduro bikes, like everything went, and that was
Full
a little bit.
enduro.
That was a bit much, people would be like, "Oh, you're going enduroing today," and I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go mountain biking," but so it went like from not, it just went a little bit over the top.